The SEDAT HR Conference 2026 is here. Western Region, are you ready? Join us on 30th April 2026 at the prestigious Western Serene Atlantic Hotel, Takoradi, for the 5th edition of the SEDAT HR Conference. This edition will discuss authentic employer branding, purpose, people, and public trust. Gain insight from Felicia Opoku-Felicia, Head of HR and Administration, Taka Ghana, Kwame Afren, HR Manager, Talo Ghana Limited, and Mami Ekiagezi, Managing Partner, 565 Consulting. Keynote address from Honorable Joseph Nelson, Western Regional Minister, and our special guest of honor, Nana Kobina Nketia V, a man hailing of Isikado Traditional Area and President of the Western Regional House of Chiefs. Are you a CU, HR professional, corporate communication executive, business owner, or a corporate leader? Then this conference is for you. Registration is opened in person 1,150 Ghana cedis, virtual 1,250 Ghana cedis. To register, visit hrconference.sedatconsultlimited.com or call 0591405555. Transform your workplace, strengthen your people strategy, and lead with impact. This edition of the SEDAT HR Conference is brought to you by SEDAT Consult Limited in partnership with Western Serene Atlantic Hotel, Good News FM, Cambridge College of Excellence, Revia, My Health Corp, HR Network, SHRB, Sky Power, Humanova by 3S Technologies, and Women Incorporated. See you there.
Hello, my name is Patricia Abnakisi, HR consultant, CEO of SEDAT Consult Limited. I would like to personally invite you to the SEDAT HR Conference 2026 Takoradi edition, happening on Thursday, 30th April 2026 at the Western Serene Atlantic Hotel in Takoradi. In my work with organizations across Ghana, one issue keeps coming up again and again. Many organizations want strong reputations, engaged employees, and trusted leadership. But the connection between purpose, people, and public trust is often missing. This is why this year's conference is focused on employer branding. We are bringing together CEOs, HR professionals, business executives to have practical conversations about building strong and authentic employer brands. If you are serious about strengthening your organization's culture, reputation, and people strategy, I invite you to join us. Call 059 140 5555 to register today. I look forward to welcoming you in Takoradi.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to you from wherever you are watching. This is the SEDAT HR Digest brought to you by SEDAT Consult Limited, your trusted HR partner. On today's episode, we have the personality in focus, and we will be literally walking through the life journey of an amazing woman. I'll be talking to you briefly about who she is, but wherever you are watching us from, kindly share the link to have others have this opportunity to join in the conversation. You can also put in the comment section where you are watching us from. Let us know your name and where you are joining us from. We will be so glad to get to know you. All right. Okay, so we'll be going into the conversation very briefly. Once again, this is brought to you by SEDAT Consult Limited. And if your organization is looking out for support in terms of recruitment and talent acquisition, you can reach out to SEDAT Consult and we'll be willing to support you in supporting training and development, payroll, service and staff outsourcing, compensation and benefits management, event management, whatever you are looking out for, right from hiring, building, and everything that goes in between, you can reach out to SEDAT Consult and we will be so willing to support your organization. We will help you build the right team to take your vision to where it ought to be, right? So we will be diving into the conversation really briefly, but I just want to let you know who you are about to listen to, who you're about to interact with right here, right? We are going to be having dear Madam Diana Antwiwaa Amoako, and she is the founder and managing consultant of Ideas and Update. She's a people, learning, and performance consultant. Diana's career trajectory represents the evolution of people learning and performance leadership from a training program officer through an L&D coordinating role to a strategic business driver, from talent manager to cultural architect, and from operational support to a capability catalyst. She's a seasoned people, learning, and performance consultant with 30 plus years of experience in organizational development and capability development. As the founder of Ideas and Update Limited, she supports businesses and individuals to develop capability. Until her retirement in 2020, Madam Diana had served as Learning and Development Manager and HR Manager at the West African Gas Pipeline Company for a cumulative period of 15 years, during which she led an agenda that embedded learning ecosystems that supported business strategy, culture transformation, and leadership pipeline development. She brings along deep expertise in capability development, talent management, and performance consulting to the burner with a passion for supporting others to learn and lead with purpose, strategy, and confidence. Diana holds a master's degree in adult education and certifications in leadership and organizational development. She is a member of the Chartered Institute of Personnel and Development, right? And she will be joining us now, and we'll be diving right into the conversation. Madam Diana.
Hi everyone.
Hello, mommy. We are so glad to have you here today.
Thank you.
We are about to literally walk through your life. How do you feel
Wow.
about that?
Hmm, happy because I believe there
Okay,
are lessons in it that others can also learn from. So that is the
right.
most important aspect of it. Yeah.
Right. Okay, wherever you're watching us, make sure you share the link to have others join the conversation and put in the comment section your name and where you are watching us from. So we have to start from the beginning, unless there's a beginning before the beginning, right? So I'd like you to briefly let us know from the very beginning what inspired your pursuit for leadership. Yes, so let's start from there and then we go into the journey properly.
Inspired me into leadership. Even in life, anywhere that you can go to or whatever situation you find yourselves, two key things come to play. That is what? Opportunity and then intentional efforts. Now, I was blessed to have all two. From where I started off as a program officer in charge of training with a non-formal division of the Ministry of Education. Fortunately, the opportunity there was that it was a World Bank sponsored project with other five top development partners who were also sponsoring. Through that, I had the opportunity to go to places like GIMPA. In those days, there were three courses in GIMPA that if you're a woman, if you are able to step your foot in, then it means you are on the leadership tree.
Hmm.
And we used to call them. We have the first line women in leadership and management. Then we had the mid level, and then we have a senior level. I was fortunate. I went straight into the middle one, and through that, I saw a lot of role models. I was the youngest in that course. Interestingly, we were two. One of us even ended up to be the head of immigration at a point in time. So being leaders, seeing leaders, networking with leaders at that early career, I realized, oh, looking at these ladies, I believe I can also get there.
Hmm.
So then another opportunity came in when, because we had the DFID sponsorship, we had two consultants attached to my department, and one of them was in charge of leadership and management. And I happened to follow him around in anywhere that, he was doing something about leadership and management. And we managed to train over 200 people in leadership and management. So all then I was gathering my nuggets together that I will also use to propel myself into leadership. So I had the taste of it very early, not just even from practicing it, but then even developing people in it. So opportunity came my way. And then I also used some intentional effort to, buttress it into action. So that's how it started.
Amazing. I think you mentioned that you were the quite the youngest in the level.
Yes, in that
So
class. Yeah.
yeah, in that class. At any point, was there any moment where you doubted yourself as a leader, especially that you were the youngest? And what did you do to manage those doubts? What kind of mindset did you build? What did you do exactly to overcome those doubts?
Okay. So for me, that was a laboratory for
Okay.
leadership because I could see that my big sisters then, everything. They would say, Andrea, you are a small girl, stand aside. So I started telling myself that I believe when you get to the real field too, those days there were few graduates in the system. There were also few women graduates in the system. And you come and then you meet these very experienced ones who maybe were not necessarily graduates, but went through the system and rose to where they are. So definitely they are not going to take it lightly with you. But then that is when humility comes in. And then I
Right.
had a focus that whatever the situation, I'm learning. The
Mm.
learning was more important to me than anything. So even if I find myself, saying I've heard or something, I just apologize. Apology is not difficult for me at all. And I apologize sincerely and then move on to get what I want. So that is what helped me. I think humility goes a long way when you really want to rise up to leadership. Aggressiveness will not help you in any way.
That's right. Thank you for that. And along the line, I'm sure in every phase, your mindset about leadership shifts. So I want to know what leadership means to you and how has that definition evolved over time?
Initially, leadership to most of us was like being in authority, you calling the shots and everybody running
Right.
around. By my personal persona did not agree with that because I
Right.
believe us all go along to achieve. So although, those who were leading me, most of them saw things in that direction, I saw it the other way. So when I got the opportunity, and because fortunately I'm in the learning and development space, I have opportunities to develop myself and know what is good and what is future oriented. And most often I'll go for what is future oriented, not what history, brought to us.
Yeah.
So I, from the get-go, because I didn't like anybody commanding me around, I made up my mind I wasn't going to do it to anybody. And I must say, I'm also lazy. So I rather prefer to involve others so that together we achieve. Yeah, I'm lazy.
Yeah.
That was so there's no way I'm going to command you around. I'd rather be friendly with you so that you help me and then together we achieve.
Amazing. Okay. I am having a few interactions with you. You mentioned that you are a single mother,
Yep.
and I'm just looking at how you are able to balance your personal responsibilities with professional ambitions. So I want you to just walk us through what mindset shifts have actually helped you to navigate both your world successfully.
Interestingly, this question always brings me mixed feelings. Simply because it takes you back to your pain points, but then someone will say, and the happy ending, makes it all the better. So from the beginning, it was not that easy, juggling with work and then with my family life. I mean, I remember those days, there were times I had to go to the northern region. I was a national training team member, and I have to go to the 3 northern regions. Then we had only 3 northern regions. That's the northern region, Upper East and Upper West. And I have to take my 3-year-old son with me. In the morning, my colleagues will bundle him up in his, the Macintosh, everything. We bundle him into our bus and then we zoom off. You get there and you may have to go and beg someone for a bathroom to quickly shower him and then give him to the driver and go and start facilitating. But that never, pushed me back. I'm the kind that I will say when I make up my mind that I'm passionate about something, nothing will, detract me. In trying to even better myself by going back to school for my master's and everything, I remember at a point I was so confused that I had a 3 accident. I couldn't be bothered, because I had a focus and I didn't want anything, detracting me. So being a single mother, if you don't take care, you may end up sacrificing one side of the balance for the other. That is your career towards leadership or whatever you want to get yourself in. Either you sacrifice for your family or you sacrifice your family for, your work. But I look at all these things not from the sacrifice perspective, but then from an integration perspective. Because at the end of the day, the lessons you learn from leading your home can be transferred to leading your team in the office. And the challenges you have from your office can also be looked at in, setting up your home or helping the people in your home. So it's not easy though, but at the end of the day, when everything comes out successfully, then you realize that, nothing was in vain. So it depends on how you look at it. If you look at it as sacrificing, as you look at it as someone cheating me, I'm doing everything, then you will have challenges. But then when you have the positives in mind, and those days my chorus was, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Whether I
Amazing.
believe it or not, that was what I always say to,
Said.
keep myself going. And it's true. I could do all things through Christ who strengthened me too. So, I mean, when it comes to that, you must have your normal rituals and things that will ginger you, and then
Yeah.
you move on. So that is
Amazing.
the way I went.
Wow.
And now I look back at those days and I smile at all the stops.
Wow. The integration perspective, I think that's very key, and everyone should look at aligning their thoughts and that transferring the skills from the various fields of their lives. All right. All right. So now I want to look at.
Hmm.
I know you've made like millions and billions of decisions. Now, what has been your toughest decision you've had to make as a leader? And what did it teach you particularly about yourself?
Okay. So one of the toughest decision I had to make was, in my last job before I retired and then went full to consultancy. I had the option of remaining as the HR manager because in Ghana, L&D, unless the organization is so big, you can't rise up to maybe a chief learning officer position or
Right.
to a VP position. So if you really want to look at leadership, then you are, somehow forced into going back to general HR or core HR so that you have the opportunity to rise. So then it came a point that the HR manager, we were managing across 4 countries. That was Ghana, Togo, Benin, and Nigeria. And then the HR manager retired and we had frozen employment. So I was given the option whether I will want to. What I told them? Although the money for the HR manager is far, far better than the L&D manager, I prefer to act for nothing. And I did so for 2.5 years because I wanted to specialize in something. When you want to lead, you must also have a base function that you lead. So, for instance, you want to lead in HR. What have you specialized in HR that in case tomorrow you want to be a SEDAT, you'll be able to, lead successfully? And I had
Right.
made my mind that, I want to be in the L&D space, and I still needed to dig deeper into that space to be able to make that transformational impact I wanted to make. So I took that option of, acting for 2.5 years. And
Amazing.
then later, an HR manager came in, and management and nobody could believe why I could do that. I said, no, I follow my passion, and I
Right.
know what I want to do in future, what I want to do in lifelong. And that is the way I'm going to go. Because I believe that when you have developed yourself fully, no matter which angle you pass, the money will come and chase you. You don't need to chase the money. So that is my story. It was a difficult decision that I know most people, I believe you yourself, Supernatural, you would have gone the other way, isn't it?
So what did that mainly teach you about who you are?
That taught me that I was very resilient. I was very passionate. When I decide to go do something, nothing is going to change my mind till I get to the destination I want to be.
Amazing. Interesting. Right. So along the line, were there people, not just in this particular role, as you were progressing in life, were there people or situations that try to define your limitations, and how did you break through boundaries?
Definitely, there's no way you can go into leadership and just, move in or out, smoothly. There'll definitely be situations that will,
Right.
uh, take you away if you don't take care, will sway you, will distract you, and whatever. I have a typical situation whereby I met a leader who frustrated me to the bone. But I said, nothing was going to change me. This is what I want to do, and that is the way I did it. So you meet people who would actually make you feel funny, but then tell yourself it is all part of the learning curve. Until you go over such situations, difficult situations, you can't say you are experienced. If everything is smooth, if you're not experienced, you need to. So for me, because I come from that learning background, I see everything as a learning situation. And I rather
Nice.
take the lessons that I learn out of it and then move forward. That's the way I see it. I don't stress myself at all. Not at all.
Resilient. You
Yeah.
mentioned earlier how there are some rituals that you perform, how
Mm-hmm.
it got to a moment where you literally declare daily that you can do all things through Christ who strengthens you, right? But I want us to look into it a bit deeper, the daily habits or the daily practices that have built and contributed to most of your effectiveness as a leader.
The first is I'm a faith-based person. So my first language is prayer. Whatever I do, I commit myself to the God I serve before I move on. The second thing is that I find out in my space, my operating space, what is going on. So I've set alerts for the various areas I'm interested in: learning and development, leadership development, capability development, whatever I'm interested in. So every morning I go there and I see what the alerts have generated for me. And then I quickly learn something from that before I even start my day.
Wow.
So those are my rituals. I call them my rituals. That not rituals in the negative sense, but
Yeah.
business rituals that I do that help me. And so that is it. Another thing is what? Connection checkup. I make sure I check up on people who have engaged in my mentees, my coachees, people who attended my learning experiences, and then find out from them, how are you doing? I know I have so many in my contact list, but I make sure at least I select a few and say hi to them or send a message to them before I move on. And then there are others too that I call and find out, how do you feel I'm doing? You attended my training the last time. What do you think
Amazing.
I could do better next time? So these are the kind of rituals I do to keep me going and to help build myself as well.
Right, amazing. So we'll get back to that. Wherever you're watching us from, make sure you share the link to have others join this conversation. Once again, this is SEDAT HR Digest brought to you by SEDAT Consult Limited. And today, our episode is the personality in focus, and we are literally walking through the life of Madam Diana, and you don't want to miss out on some of the key things that you can begin to put to work to ensure that you also become an effective leader. I see Afe Smith watching live from Pokiase. Thank you for joining us. We are so glad to have you. I also see John joined from Akosombo. John, we are glad to have you on the call. Right, so SEDAT Consult is holding a special event on the 30th of April. That is the SEDAT HR conference. This is the Takoradi edition, and we want to make sure that you are fully breasted on what to anticipate for this conference. Now, the theme for this conference is authentic employer branding, purpose, people, and public trust. This is holding on the 30th of April at the Western Serene Atlantic Hotel, and we have amazing speakers that will be joining us. We have Madam Omami Ekia Gazy, managing partner of 565 Consulting. We also have Mr. Kwame Afre, he's the HR manager at Talu Ghana Limited. And we also have Madam Felicia Opoku Felice, she's the HR head of HR and administration, Taka Ghana. And we have our honorable and amazing keynote speaker, who is the Honorable Joseph Nelson. He's the Western Regional Minister, and our special guest for this edition of the SEDAT HR conference is Nana Kobina Nketia the Fifth. He's a Manhin of Isikado traditional area and president of the Western Regional House of chiefs. You do not want to miss out this conference. If you work with people, you lead people, or plan to lead people, this conference is right for you, because we'll be talking about how to attract the right people, how to build trust, how to grow a strong organization. You want to make sure that you are in the room and you have the opportunity to ask questions, to network with other professionals, right? The link to register has been posted in our comment section area. Make sure you click on it and you sign up now. And you don't just have to sign up, you can also post the link on your platforms to have others who are interested have the opportunity to join in the conference, right? So we'll be going right back into our conversation. Amazing. All right. Insightful practical habits that Madam Diana has shared with us. It's how she's utilizing her connection to become better in life, interacting with her connection to gain feedback from them on how she's actually been doing. You know, they've been watching her and she contacts them to gain feedback, and that's an absolute way of developing as a leader, becoming more effective as a leader, right? So back to our conversation. I just wanted to take us through how you continue growing and learning while leading, and what keeps you sharp and inspired each day.
So doing is that I believe learning is a continuous process. I mean, we continue learning to the point we die. We don't know how to die. Because none of us have died before. None of the living has died before. So learning is a continuous process. And I am a product of, self-directed learning. That is, I look out for things, I learn from them. Although, I've done a few certifications, for instance, I've been able to do the level 5 certification in the Institute of Leadership and Management. For you to authenticate whatever you've done, you need some form of certification that
Right.
tells people that at least you are there.
Yeah.
I read from one of the HR platform chats, there was this debate against experience and then certifications. And I
Okay.
like the response. I'm sure you read it yourself. I like the
Yeah.
response that Kojo brought on board. He says the certification will get you to the door, but then you need to prove yourself. But then if
Right.
you don't get to the door, there's no way you can prove to yourself. So there are instances that, for instance, I did the Institute of Leadership and Management certification. And when I finished, the lady who was my assessor said something has been bothering her. And I asked her why. She actually called me and said, no, the way I do my responses and things, it's something I'm very familiar with. So why did I take the course? I said, because the world believes in certifications. I don't have a choice. So I
Amazing.
need to authenticate myself, put my badge number on my LinkedIn profile and things. And then people will say, oh, yeah, she got it. She's done this and that. Yeah. So you need to get your leg in the door. So that's what I do. I have the certifications, but the certifications are not all in all. So I believe in constantly learning. So you
Right.
find me everywhere. There are so many people I follow. There's so much free learning on LinkedIn that we take for granted. There's so much leadership hints and whatever on LinkedIn that all what you need to do is join some of the groups there, follow some of the people there, and you always have something to learn from. Apart from that, you need to belong to a professional association where
Right.
continuous learning is there. There are continuous learning processes there. So I am part of the Chartered Institute of Personnel and Development, and there's so much I can learn there towards leadership. I go to the ILM side too. There's other things. So sometimes we need to sacrifice a bit by paying a bit to join some of these associations so that we can learn. It's not every learning that you get as what relearning. So
Right.
that is what keeps me sharp. And then I mentor a lot of people and coach a lot of people.
Amazing.
As you coach and mentor people, you also learn, isn't it? For
Yeah.
coaching, for instance, whereby all what you do as a coach is to ask questions for the coachee to, bring out the answers. All the answers the coachee brings out, you also learn from it. So I believe in, various learning paths, sharpening me. I believe in joining other projects. So if, for instance, SEDAT, you have a competency management project going and you invite me to join you as a consultant, I don't mind, because I learn through projects, I learn through whatever way, to the extent that I learn through my mistakes. Because when you don't make the mistakes and learn out of it, there's no way that you can live forward. So learning is my everyday. I tell people I take learning for breakfast, for lunch, and then supper.
Amazing. You spoke briefly about learning from your mistakes. So I want you to just take us through mistakes that you've probably made that later became your greatest lessons.
Mm. Yeah, one of the mistakes I made was that, sometimes as leaders, we feel, oh, I can do it better than my team members. Oh, they are wasting my time. My supervisor needs it. The MD needs it. Leadership needs it. So when they waste your time, you just do everything yourself. And then if you do that mistake, one mistake leads to another mistake. So you end up being burnt out. And then when someone will say, when you go lie in the hospital twice, thrice, nobody will call you to attention that try to, develop more people, empower more people to take over some of their tasks so that you can also be relaxed. Because one, you're a single mother, you have your challenges already. And then you take everything in the office too, and then put it upon yourself, feeling some people are lazy, some people are slow, and then you end up, burning yourself out. But then well-being, it's important.
Right.
Equally as you want to climb higher, your well-being is important. Because if you die today, how will you climb out? Your corpse will not able to climb back. So those are the two greatest lessons, and they are intertwined as well. So I hope nobody will go the way I went, so that they get into the challenge that they have to be hospitalized. Once I was delivering a paper, when I delivered it at I think Fiesta, and I was so tired that when I finished, I just stepped out. I realized I was going out. I just stepped out. And the next minute, my drivers had rushed me to Nyahu, and only God. So I told myself that, man, you have to slow down. You need to delegate more. You need to empower people more, develop them to do some of the things. It's not everything you can do.
Amazing. I think earlier when you were speaking about what leadership is to you, you highlighted the fact that when it came to you, always from the start, you didn't like to, be so authoritative, commanding people, and you highlighted this humility and also focus, right? I just want you to take us a little bit into that other mindsets that everyone who wants to be very effective in leadership should actually build. Maybe top three non-negotiable, right?
Mm, mm. Yeah. To lead with a shared purpose that everybody who you're leading needs to understand. Every leader should give others the opportunity in decision making. It isn't because you're leading, because you're in charge. Give people the opportunity. I mean, one thing that I did that helped most of my team members was that, for instance, our weekly meetings, I never led. The most junior person in the team is the one who does the meeting planning, and he leads and calls everybody to order. So you'll be in the office and he'll come and tell you it's time for the meeting.
Right.
Everything, and everybody was accountable for the actions they needed to do. So humility, delegating more, empowering people. As a leader, you need to empower people. The difference between you and the team is you developing and empowering them. So you must be able to coach them. You must be able to mentor them. Any form of support that you believe when you bring on board is going to help them. Because at the end of the day, that's the legacy you leave. So
Right.
that when you leave, there's if Madam so was here, this thing that struggling with. She had found a way of, if she can't even show me, she would have found a way of getting someone to help me do it.
Right. You just spoke about legacy, right? So, just briefly, beyond your current achievements, what is the mark that you hope to leave as a leader?
Wow, that's a big one.
Yeah.
The next one to just leave is that make transformation the part of every organization's fabric. Transformation embedded in the people, in the systems, in the processes. And I have to leave a legacy of professionals who are transformed into doing what they need to do, into helping people do things in organizations with not a compliance mindset, but with what? A cultural mindset that this is the way we go. So this is the way I need to go. I also want to leave, a legacy of frameworks, ecosystems that outlast me, myself, tools that when people get into organizations, they know, oh, Diana supported in bringing this to life. So that is what I want to do.
Right. When you look at the trend in leadership now, when you look at our world now, what's one thing you think maybe a lot of leaders are overlooking?
What a lot of leaders are overlooking is the development aspect. When you talk about the development aspect, they think it's a matter of, bringing a shopping bag to HR for people to be sent to training. No, it goes beyond that. It goes to the point that leaders must support their team members directly for them to develop through various means, giving them stretch assignments, coaching them, mentoring them, adding them to projects so that they can learn from it. So
Right.
that is my challenge. I believe leaders should, apart from having the vision, influencing, energizing, team building, change management, naming it, the development part of it. That is what makes a leader stands apart from the rest. Because it is when you develop them that you can empower them to also. At the end of the day, you are not measured by what you did, but then the people you've grown that can also do something. And if you don't develop them, they will not grow.
Right.
So that is what I will stress on.
Wow. If you are watching us, we want to have your questions. We want to answer your questions. So put your questions in the comments section and we would give you the answers that you require, right? And ensure that you keep on sharing the link. This is a must watch for everyone. Leadership is beyond leading people, it's also about leading yourself. So, everyone deserves to participate in this conversation. So, just keep on sharing the link. We are wrapping up briefly. I see Mr. Jeffrey McBoham says hi to Supernatural. Say hi to Diana. Hi. He says hi. I did. I also want to give a big shout out to you. Do you even thank you so much, Mr. Jeffrey, for the feedback. Cool. Right. So this will be more of like the last question for you. So this is you to your younger self, right? What three things would you tell your younger self about leadership and life in general?
So my younger self, young Diana, leadership is not about just what you achieve, but what you leave behind for others to continue. You must set something up so that others will build on it and rebuild on it. Leadership is about impact, the impact you make to people, not what you've left. The legacies, they're all good, the tools, the systems, but then what impact have you made on the people? And I'll say, Diana, strive towards leadership, but live a life as well, because that is what the beginning I didn't do well at all in my journey. I was struggling to be good as a mother, to be good in my career. So it's like I neglected life at a point, I had to catch up later. So leadership about living a life as well. Have that balance. That is what I would have told her.
Amazing. I'm touched. It's not about what you achieve, but what you leave behind for others. Amazing.
Yes.
It's been such an insightful conversation with you. Just going through a few of the thoughts that you've shared, how that your leadership started with you recognizing an opportunity and taking advantage of the opportunity, right? And how that for anyone to rise in leadership, they would have to, build their mindset and ensure that they stay focused. You've got to know where you are going. You lay so much emphasis on that, and you use yourself as examples severally, how you are so determined, so focused, and you went for it. And that's what every leader should do. And being future oriented, you're not just looking at the now, but what's ahead. You just literally spoke about how that it's about the impact that you make on people. Amazing. I believe everyone should get to hear these. Just want to highlight a training that SEDAT Consult will be holding in April. That's the HR analytics training. This training will hold in April 8th to 10th, and it's meant to help you turn your workforce data into business results. You want to make sure you sign up for this training and be a part of it. Wednesday 8th to 5th. The link will be posted on our comments area. Make sure that you register, you sign up, and also share this opportunity. There are others within your contact that are looking for this opportunity, right? So make sure you share it to have others sign up. Now, this training goes at a fee of 3,600 Ghana cedis. Make sure that you sign up and you would benefit so greatly from the training. Also, once again, we are holding the SEDAT HR conference Takoradi edition at the Western Serene Atlantic Hotel. You don't want to miss this conference for anything in this world. Make sure you sign up and also make sure you share this to your contact so that they would have the opportunity to join the conversation. All too soon, we've come to we are wrapping up with today's conversation. There was one thought that Madam Diana highlighted in terms of balancing her career, her profession with her personal life, especially as a single mother, right? How that she had the integration perspective, and I believe that every leader ought to have a look in that direction as well. Making use of the skills that you build in one aspect and transferring it to the other fields of your life. And she also highlighted that you should have a base foundation, specialize with something, because once you've developed yourself, the money will come. You don't have to chase the money will come to you. It's been such an insightful. I have so many things written down here, but of course I can't go through it all again. So make sure if you are just joining us, the video will be available right after the stream. You can just watch from the beginning, and even when the stream is over, you can still share the link to have others pick these important thoughts that Madam Diana has shared with us. If you have not subscribed to our channel yet, kindly do subscribe now so that you can have updates. The SEDAT HR Digest holds every Sunday at 4 p.m. You don't want to miss any conversation that we have, so subscribe now. Don't think twice about it. You wouldn't, right? Okay, so back to Madam Diana. I really want to thank you. It's been such an insightful conversation. What will be your last words to our audience?
Okay. My last word is that I started off as a trainer and I now lead as a transformation architect, curator, and learning evangelist. What
Amazing.
about you? Where do you want to be? On that note, Supernatural, thanks for hosting me. I deem it a privilege And thanks to everyone in the audience for your time and your attention. See you again sometime, somewhere, someday.
Thank
Have
you
a
so
seat.
much. Thank you so much. We're so glad to have you. She left us with a very striking question. All right, so you ponder on that today and let it help you plan how you're going to progress in life, right? So thank you once again for joining the SEDAT HR Digest. This should be one of your top podcasts and webinars that you should always anticipate. Holds every Sunday at 4 p.m. You don't want to miss any of our conversations. We have top speakers who always come on board to share insights with us. You don't want to miss. Once again, this is brought to you by SEDAT Consult Limited, and we look forward to having another insightful time with you. We also have a radio training project. The details are being displayed on the screen now. This is the Radio Career Launchpad. It's a it's an 8-week practical training and 1 month internship, and this is being done with the Asasi radio, right? And there are quite a lot of courses that will be covered. We'll be covering radio broadcasting, radio production, radio presenting, radio programming, studio mastering, news or news reporting, investigative journalism. If you have interest in these, you want to make sure that you sign up. It begins on the 18th of April. That's on a Saturday, right? And it's going to be held at the SEDAT Consult Training Room at Santasi, that's in Kumasi, adjacent Safo Hotel. The contacts are displayed on the screen. You can call 054 057 5564, 054 Call us if you want to make any further inquiries. It goes at a fee of 3,300 Ghana cedis. Make sure you call us, and also you have the opportunity, and you should be interested in sharing this opportunity with others as well. As I always say, there are people in your contact that might be interested. Probably you are not now, but they are interested. So you can kindly share this flyer. The link has also been posted. You can share it on your various platforms and would have others join for the training. Thank you once again for joining this episode of the SEDAT HR Digest, and we look forward to having another insightful episode with you next Sunday. See you.
Hello, it's Patricia Abnakisi, your host for the SEDAT HR Conference 2026 Takrade edition. This year, we've carefully put together industry experts and professionals to discuss the theme Authentic Employer Branding, Purpose, People, and Public Trust. Joining us will be Mami Ekuya Gazi, Managing Partner, 565, Kwame Afre, Head of HR, Talo Ghana Limited, Felicia Opoku Foliche, Head of HR and Administration, Taka, Ghana. Our special guest is Nana Kwabna Nketia, the Faith, Oman of Isikabi Traditional Area and President of the Western Regional House of Chiefs. And our keynote speaker is Honorable Joseph Nelson, Western Regional Minister. I can't wait to host you.
The SEDAT HR Conference 2026 is here. Western Region, are you ready? Join us on 30th April 2026 at the prestigious Western Serene Atlantic Hotel, Takoradi, for the 5th edition of the SEDAT HR Conference. This edition will discuss authentic employer branding, purpose, people, and public trust. Gain insight from Felicia Opoku Felicia, Head of HR and Administration, Taka Ghana. Kwame Afre, HR Manager, Talo Ghana Limited, and Mami Ekiagezi, Managing Partner, 565 Consulting. Keynote address from Honorable Joseph Nelson, Western Regional Minister, and our special guest of honor, Nana Kobina Nketia V, Oman of Isikado Traditional Area and President of the Western Regional House of Chiefs. Are you a CEO, HR professional, corporate communication executive, business owner, or a corporate leader? Then this conference is for you. Registration is opened in person, 1,150 Ghana cedis, virtual, 1,250 Ghana cedis. To register, visit hrconference.sedatconsultlimited.com or call 0591 405555. Transform your workplace, strengthen your people strategy, and lead with impact. This edition of the SEDAT HR Conference is brought to you by SEDAT Consult Limited in partnership with Western Serene Atlantic Hotel, Good News FM, Cambridge College of Excellence, Revia, My Health Corp, HR Network, SHRP, Sky Power, Humanova by 3S Technologies, and Women Incorporated. See you there.